Hi, I'm Bruce Collins, and this is Bruce Collins' Hidden History. History tells us that June 6, 1944, the D-Day invasion of Normandy, was won by brave soldiers storming the beaches under impossible conditions. And that's true. But before the first Allied soldier stepped onto Omaha Beach, another battle had already been fought. It wasn't fought with rifles. It wasn't fought with tanks. It wasn't even fought in France. It was fought with lies, rubber tanks, fake radio broadcasts, double agents, and an army that never existed. Tonight on Bruce Collins' Hidden History, we're uncovering Operation Bodyguard, the greatest military deception in history. By early 1944, everyone knew the Allies would eventually invade Western Europe. The Germans knew it. The Allies knew it. The only question was, where? The shortest crossing from England to France was the Pas du Calais, only about 21 miles across the English Channel. From a military standpoint, it seemed like the obvious choice. And Adolf Hitler believed that's exactly where the invasion would come. The Allies decided to exploit that assumption. The deception campaign was called Operation Bodyguard. Its purpose wasn't simply to fool the Germans. Its purpose was to convince Hitler that Normandy was only a diversion and that the real invasion would happen later in Calais. If Hitler delayed sending reinforcements to Normandy, even for a few days, it could mean the difference between victory and disaster. One of the most remarkable parts of the operation was the creation of an army that never existed. It was called the First United States Army Group, or FUSAG. On paper, it was the largest Allied force in England. Thousands of men, hundreds of tanks, massive supply depots, landing craft, aircraft, except most of it wasn't real. The Allies built inflatable Sherman tanks, wooden airplanes, canvas-covered vehicles, fake fuel dumps, empty camps, even fake headquarters. From the air, German reconnaissance saw exactly what the Allies wanted them to see: a massive army preparing to invade Calais. Then came perhaps the master stroke. The Allies placed General George S. Patton in command of this phantom army. Patton was considered one of America's greatest battlefield commanders. The Germans respected him. Hitler respected him. If Patton was commanding an army in southeast England, surely that had to be the main invasion force. The Allies knew Hitler would believe Patton would lead the decisive attack, so they let him, even though the army didn't exist. But fake tanks alone weren't enough. The Allies needed the Germans to hear the same story from human sources. That's where the double-cross system came in. British intelligence had captured nearly every German spy operating in Britain. Instead of imprisoning them, many were turned into double agents. They continued sending reports back to Germany, only now the reports were written by British intelligence. Again and again, German headquarters received messages confirming exactly what they already believed: Calais, Patton, a massive invasion. Everything reinforced the deception. Then came June 6, 1944. The Allies landed in Normandy. German commanders were stunned, but many believed Normandy was only the opening move. Even after thousands of Allied troops came ashore, Hitler refused to release several armored divisions. He remained convinced the real invasion was still coming at Calais. Those reinforcements remained in reserve during the critical first days of the battle. That delay gave the Allies precious time to establish a foothold in France. Military historians generally agree that Operation Bodyguard played an important role in that success. The remarkable thing about Operation Bodyguard is that almost none of it depended on a single trick. Instead, dozens of small deceptions worked together. Fake equipment, false intelligence, double agents, carefully controlled leaks, even fake radio traffic that mimicked entire military units. Each piece supported every other piece. The Germans weren't fooled by one lie. They were surrounded by hundreds of lies that all pointed to the same conclusion. What makes this story so fascinating isn't simply that the Allies lied. Armies have always used deception. What made Operation Bodyguard extraordinary was understanding how people think. The Allies didn't force Hitler to believe something impossible. They encouraged him to believe something he already expected. That may be the most powerful lesson of all. The best deception doesn't create a new belief, it confirms an existing one. When we think about World War II, we usually picture courage on the battlefield. But intelligence mattered too. Operation Bodyguard reminds us that wars are fought not only with weapons, but with information. It also reminds us to be careful in our own lives, whether it's politics, advertising, social media, or international affairs. We should always ask ourselves one simple question: am I seeing the whole picture, or am I seeing the picture someone wants me to see? Because in 1944, one carefully crafted illusion helped change the course of history. I'm Bruce Collins. Thank you for joining me for another edition of Hidden History. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves history. Until next time, remember, history isn't always what happened. Sometimes it's what almost happened. Good night.